Hello, everyone. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. This is Karen Blake. I am the Community Engagement Program Manager for our Siemens DISW community. And welcome to another session of our Technomatics Virtual User Group. We're excited to be here again today, live as always. And today's topic, as you can see, is database access using Python. So, as most of you probably know, our presenter for today is Stefan Bongsel. He has so much experience in this field and has been in plant simulation for several decades now. He's done hundreds of projects and training sessions, including more than 20 for us, almost 30 here at PLM. Stefan has published 5 books on plant simulation and is definitely working on his 6th book. And you can very often find him contributing to our Siemens PLM community in the forums. So for today, there are 3 big steps to this tutorial. Number 1, create a MySQL database. You'll want to add data and then read the data in plant simulation using Python. So again, we are definitely live. Stefan will be presenting all of this in real time, and we will have a live Q&A via hand raise at the close of the presentation. So in the meantime, if you have questions or comments, you notice something, feel free to type in the chat, which I'll be monitoring, and I can answer you. And then at the end, we can take you off mute and you can start a discussion. Also, if you're not aware, the hand raise button is towards the middle upper area of your screen. So that is where you will find that to use for the Q&A. But other than that, I'll, Stefan, let you steal the screen and get started.
Hello again. This is our 3rd webinar with the topic of Python. And first, what we can do with Python here. Today, I want to show you how to connect a database server with Python without using the interface package of plant simulation. And Python comes with a couple of default database connectors, and these are here in my presentation. The default database for Python is SQLite, but we don't need Python to connect to SQLite because plant simulation itself has one integrated interface for SQLite, and this is much faster to do this with SimTalk. Other basic database connectors that comes with the installation already is a database connector for MySQL and MariaDB and PostgreSQL. And today, I want to show you how to connect with the MySQL database server. And I know it's a little bit hard to follow because you need first one installation for MySQL. But I want to start with one really simple example model. I want to in this webinar, I want to import data for the simulation from an external MySQL database server. It's a quite standard situation. But first, I want to have a very small example model. I want to have one source and 3 stations and the train. I connected all together. And I need to change some basic stuff here. I changed the 3D properties of the station in the class library. we will see the names. And I changed the names here to station 3. Station 2 and station 1. I want to set the process time of the stations and the failure times, mean time to repair, and availability of the stations. And so I need to include in the class here first one failure, so that I can set all this stuff with SimTorque. And then I want to have a table here in Plant Simulation. Where I import the data and also have the right data types for all my stuff here. And this data import should have a column index, a row index, and in the column index, row index should be the station. And I make it as a data type object. Then I have proc time. As time. Availability as real. And the MTDR as time. Or real. Oh, my example is it's real. Okay, so this is my table, and into this table I want to import some data from the database. And so I need first a database, and I prepared this already. What's German? Once again. So this is PHP my admin, one of the basic environments for setup MySQL databases. I have here one table, machine data. This machine data has 5 columns. First column is the ID as auto increment value. Then I have station as text. In the third column, proc time as an integer value in seconds. Then availability as a flow, a double value, and MTDR as int. And I have already entered some data here. Station 1 with a proc time of 120, 95% availability and MTDR of 1,320 seconds. For station 2, another values, and station 3, other values. These I have already defined here. And so this is my database. And now I need to connect with this database, and I need the Python module for this. The MySQL connector, MySQL module should be available in the basic installation already. You can find really a big number of connectors for other databases that you need to install as library. You also can connect with basic ODBC driver. Python also supports ODBC interface, but the ODBC interface is much slower than directly connecting to a database, and so it's better to use if you have some direct connector. And we need to import plant simulation. First, we need to establish a connection to the database. And for this, you need some information. It's different between the databases. And here for MySQL, I need the host, I need the user password, and I need the database name. And you can use the method connect. To connect with a database, and so we need some information. Host is in my case localhost. Because the database server is running on my computer here. Otherwise, you need to set here the IP of the database server. User, yeah, you should have another one, but this is the default installation of MySQL. This the default installation comes with root. You should change this, and the default installation has also no password. My database name is input data. Maybe you need also to define a port number. I run this database on the default port number, and so there are more information if you have other database servers. You need a cursor object for execute some SQL command, and this you need to create. And the cursor object provides the method execute. And you need to hand over SQL. For instance, select star from asterisk from machine data. So it returns data. Some rows maybe, in my case, are the result sets is organized in rows, and with fetch all, I can read all the information in one object. Fetch. And then I can close the connection. This is very important to have not so many connections open, because your database server is restricted to a certain number of open connections. And so I release the data, I delete the data in my storage, and close the connection. So in the next step, I need to store this rows object in a structure I can read, for instance, with a loop. And so I change this into a data array. And this I can now use for transfer the data into Blend simulation. all the results from the database is okay. Never you get objects from the database, and so you need to change the data type with str to object to object, and you find this in a row in the first column. The first index is 0. In the 0, it's the ID of this data set. And so row 1 is the second row. And then I want to write it. Root is the same like in SimTorque. In plan simulation, it's the root frame. Data import is my table. And then comes the SimTorque commands. Deletes all the content from the old contents from the data import table. And then so one moment, this needs to be another position here in the programming. It's outside of this. Loop root data import point right row. And now it's SimTorque here. We start with 0 because I want to write the station into the row index. Then comes the row I want to start, and this is ydim +1, the next free line. Then I write station in the column 0 and row 3, 2, 3, and 4. From the result set of the database request. Okay, so we have again 2 parts here in this Python script. We have pure Python here for reading all this stuff from the database, and then we transfer the data from the Python data structure into the plan simulation data structure. And this I can check now. I click import. I don't see any problems here. And here are the data from my MySQL database. And now I need, for instance, one init method. To transfer the data from this table data import into my stations. Station is in the row index in the column 0. And then I set station prop time to data import 1 I. And station LS and all the same for MTDR from the third column. So, and now I am not a big fan of reading the database for each simulation run. If you do simulation runs with the experiment manager, then you need to contact the database server very often, and this is not necessary because the data don't change in this speed, and so it's better to load the data from the database once before you start all your experiments. And so I make here one button. To load the script here. And so you can load the data and then start the simulation. And all the data is now here. 2 minutes. Failure data are transferred from the database. Yes, and that's it. This is quite plain programming of database here. You find a lot of modules and libraries that hides all this stuff from you. You don't need to write SQL code when you find the right library. You use a library that makes this for you, and also all this connection stuff and fetch all this information from the result set. Is you find a lot of libraries that makes this in like a low code. But this is connected with a lot of unnecessary lines of programming, and this slows down the programming, the program execution. But if you run this script only once before you start your experimentation, then it's okay. And so you can use here other libraries, and so you don't need to program, for instance, SQL in Python. Okay, it's not a rocket science. and you don't need the interface package from Blend Simulation. That's it. Do you have? Wait.
Yeah, so there's at least one question in the chat I see from earlier.
I just need to find. Okay, yeah.
And it's fine. It was from Henry. He was asking, how do I add Python module in my library? I guess he was questioning if it's a paid plugin or what version of PlantSim does it work in?
You don't need to add the PlantSim. It's made by this by the Python module itself in Blend Simulation. It comes with the right library. And MySQL should be part of the default distribution of Python. I installed Python directly from Python and from the Python side, and there's MySQL already included. You don't need to install one additional library for this. Yeah,
sounds like a good answer. And we are in the Q&A section of the session, so you're welcome to type questions in. You're welcome to raise your hand. We can get you off mute so you can ask a question. There are a couple of questions or suggestions there. So Henry's asking, are you able to see, Stefan?
Yes, I need to take the screen.
Okay.
Okay, the first, I now found the first question. It's how I add a Python module in my library. Okay, you need to click to manage class library. And then you need to check the Python module here in the information flow folder. And there's no special license necessary for this, and the Python module is available since 2404. And then you find it here in the information flow here, Python. It's only not marked in the default installation. Okay, second one. If we get to update the SQL data, the init method triggers the update to change the data uploaded in PHP MyAdmin. It's only it's only an interface to manage the library, to manage the database. The database behind is PHP. It's MySQL. You don't get a message automatically if you change some data in the database server. It's maybe somewhere, and so you need to one way would be to make an endless loop and update the data each 10 seconds. Or just get an information, okay, you have changed the data and you need to reload the data, and then you just need to press on load data to have the new data. But there's no automatism behind. And so it's difficult. It's not automatically update the data. You need to actively import the data new from the database server. As a suggestion for future topic, I'm interested in knowing more on how to SQL query an internal data table and an external database. The data table in Blend Simulation does not support SQL. You can use internally here the Okay, it's also not here. So you find here the SQLite interface, this one. So this is not the data table here. It's you can create here an SQLite database in Plan Simulation. And here the basic is double point memory, and this is an in-memory database. And there you can store data and read data using SQL, but not with the default data table. An external database, you need to use some interface in Plan Simulation. And you find here a lot of some interfaces for databases. By default, you have an ODBC database interface, and you have Oracle database interfaces for version 11 and 19. But to do this, you need the interface package. It's one additional package you need to buy for Plan Simulation. Or you have Plan Simulation X, and it's part of the Plan Simulation Advanced, I guess, license. But accessing here internal table with SQL is not possible. There's a place to watch all the virtual user group sessions. Yes. Okay. Let's show this first. It's here in the forum, Technomatics. And here's the page for Plan Simulation Virtual User Group. And in knowledge articles, you'll find the page with on-demand videos. And here you'll find a collection of all the videos, of all the webinars we are already done here. Yes, and there's a link. So with SQLite, I can connect to an internal data table. No, you cannot. SQLite is a database, and you can connect internally to this SQLite database. The data table is an object in Plan Simulation, and this object doesn't support SQL queries. So SQLite is a complete database. It's integrated in Plan Simulation as a module.
You see on your screen right now a screenshot of the Plant Simulation Virtual User Group area from the Siemens DISW. So that would be software forums. And the image is showing you that we recommend that you follow this area of the community forums, which you can get to by clicking on your screen right now, the link there for the Plant Simulation Virtual User Group. When you follow the topic, you would also want to select the email icon so that you can receive every post that is put there. The only thing that is posted in that part of the community are recordings of the sessions, such as today. The recording will be there on Friday. And then also invitations to register for new sessions. And you're actually able to post questions about the sessions as well. You can @mention Stefan or any of our other experts for answers there. And the second thing you're seeing on the screen are the next sessions. So the very next one will be Wednesday, May 21st. And we're talking, Stefan will be presenting on energy simulation of transporters, so some battery management. And then we'll go 3 weeks and come back on June 11th, talking about how to assemble and plant simulation. So that will be good. And I do see there's at least one question being typed in the chat, so I'll give you some more time and remind everyone that our premier customer event, Realize Live in the Americas, is occurring in less than a month now, the first week of June in Detroit, Michigan. So this is for all Siemens software customers to come out for a 4-day digital transformation exhibition and training conference. And Stefan will definitely be there, and our other plant simulation community catalysts. And then Stefan, remind me, what's the breakout session that you'll be doing at Realize Live in Detroit?
Yes, I do. I have 2 presentations. One is about Python here, and the second one is how to synchronize workers and cranes.
Okay.
And yes.
Awesome. So yeah, if you want to get information about the Americas, you can click the link there. If you haven't already, that will take you through to the Americas page. And additionally, we have the same event happening in Amsterdam. So, but this one, there's a lot more plant simulation users there. So if you were interested in doing an entire day focused on plant simulation, then maybe you would want to fly to Amsterdam. So that event will be 3 days in total, with an entire day for a plant simulation user track. You can click the link there for more information. Are you doing, and remind me, are you doing a different session? I think you are in Europe, a different breakout topic, or is it the same?
It's the same. It's the topic with the worker and crane synchronization. Yeah. This is my main presentation in Amsterdam.
Yes. Okay. That's good. So you have choices. If you're able to go, you can choose your location and get the same info and maybe meet Stefan in person. So yeah, just to remind everyone that the link that is on the screen to the virtual user group is where the video will be posted on Friday for this session, so that you can review it. And you can even mention Stefan there underneath the recording in the forums. If there's something that you didn't think of today, you can always ask that question later. And he's usually there. I know, Stefan, you've been very, very good about answering questions on these tutorials. So I guess that will be it. All we have for today. Thank you so much, Stefan, for another really useful session. We always really appreciate you. So, and we'll see everybody in the forums.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.